Hey everyone, it's Joy here with another lawnfawn video, and I'm going to be sharing the super cute pull inside surprise die and the backyard bird feeder stamp and coordinating die. So I've stamped out my images from that super cute stamp set. I've got a few birds, we've got a cute little squirrel, the bird feeder of course, a tree branch, and some of the bird food that has like fallen on the ground. And so we're going to use these darling images with the pull inside surprise die. It's a really easy interactive die to use if you're someone that maybe wants to make an interactive card and it just feels a little overwhelming or a little too complicated. This one is absolutely not. It's so easy to put together. So we're going to create a fun little scene card with these images and that die. So I'm going to have some bluebirds, some yellow birds. About this time of year where I live, we get tons of bluebirds coming through, and then we just get a couple of really bright yellow birds that just kind of hang out in our yard for a few weeks and then they're gone again. So that is my inspiration. And then we have this darling little squirrel that I'm going to give him a good little brown color. And there's the little bird that's sitting there that's looking to the right. That bird and the squirrel are going to be together because I feel like that bird is looking at the squirrel like, why are you eating our food? So what the heck are you doing? So that's how I'm going to have those little characters laid out. Then we've got our bird food. We have our bird feeder. And when I was coloring this background, my marker started to run out of ink. I was so bummed. So I was able to get it most of the way colored. I added some darker. I was able to blend it out a little bit and it worked, but I think I'm going to have to get a refill on that. And then I don't know about you, but I feel like every time I see a bird feeder, it's usually red, and maybe it's the hummingbird feeder, but I decided to color this one red to have that nice fun pop of color along with the bluebirds and the yellow birds. I thought that'd be really cute. So let's color that. I did color that background part that looks like the see-through glass. I colored that with a light blue. I'm using Copic markers. I stamped my images with Lawnfawn's jet black ink on their white cardstock. And then I'm going to just kind of roughly color this. I want it to look like it's got some texture. And then I'm going to use all of the coordinating dies to die cut out all of these images. And on the left there, you can see that little kind of dotted black line. That's going to be the string or the whatever that's going to hang our bird feeder from the branch. Okay, here is the pull and slide surprise. You've got 3 pieces that's going to create your interactive card. And then in the die cut, there's other decorative pieces. So I'm going to show you this. We're going to decorate it first, then we're going to put it together. But basically that little pull tab piece goes behind, those 2 little pieces, one on each side there. And then you just attach it to a back. Super easy. So that first piece that's actually going to be the interactive part, it's going to slide. I am using the cloud background stencils and stormy sky, tumbled glass distress oxide ink. And there's 2 stencils in this, and I'm going to create a fun cloudy background because most of this is going to look like, this is hanging from a tree, so you're going to have your sky behind it. We are going to add a little bit of grass, and I'll show you where we're going to do that. Now I'm going to bring in that second stencil, line that up, and then lightly stencil the other clouds a little bit lighter. Then I'm just going to lightly ink blend over the whole top. That way it's not so stark white that it has a little bit of blue. I'm going to do the same thing for the little pull tab piece. So this has that little pull tab at the top. That's what you're going to grab onto when you pull it open. And I am going to do the same ink blending with that stencil. I really didn't add any ink to this one to my blender tool. I just used what was left on there for the clouds. Look at how cute that is. And then again, just lightly ink blending around the edges, just taking down some of that stark white. I did not want that to be so white. Then I have, first let's splatter a little bit with that tumbled glass. I don't know why I want to keep calling it stormy sky. I'm so sorry. It's tumbled glass. Then I cut a piece that's the same side as that left-hand side piece that has the moving part. So it's slightly smaller than that piece. This is going to be the area that gets revealed when you pull that tab back. So I am using mowed lawn and the grassy hillside stencil. I'm going to create 2 little hillsides here of green grass. This is just going to create a little bit of a scene. So when you pull that tab up, you reveal something. This is where we're going to have a bird and a squirrel and some of that food. And then I'm going to use that same stencil, because it's also a masking stencil, to mask off the grass, and then I can come in and lightly ink blend and stencil again using that cloud background stencil. So let me bring those in really quick. I don't really need to mask that bottom off anymore. I just won't ink blend through the clouds that are covering the grass. So there we have that one. I'm gonna line this up. Has little registration marks that you can just find the matching cloud, and then you can ink blend the rest of it. So easy, so cute. Okay, so we're gonna fold at that score line right in the middle. So we're gonna create a mountain. And I like to flip it around and fold it back towards myself, because there's another score line right there at the top. And then that bottom piece, again, folding back towards myself, and that is giving us a little foot, and that's what we're going to adhere some adhesive to in just a second. Now we have those 2 little pieces on the side. This is just it's going to pop this piece up just ever so slightly. That way that pull tab piece can slide with ease. So I die cut that from the same white cardstock that I created the pull and slide piece with. So a little bit of liquid glue, and then just putting that piece down. So these are, I think Kelly Marie called them stabilizer pieces. So I'm just going to put those one down on each side with a little bit of liquid glue. Now, again, this is turned over, this is away from us. And so that little foot at the bottom, we want to add some tape there. So right here, I'm using some double-sided adhesive, and I just need to trim it down just to fit that little area. And I'm also going to add a couple dots of liquid glue, because I just ink blended that background. I want to make sure that everything is going to stick and stay. And I will show you here in just a second how we're going to adhere it. It is so super simple and super, super easy. So let's place that adhesive right down on that little tab piece down there. I'm going to remove the release paper and add 2 dots of liquid glue. Then I'm going to flip this over, and I want to line it up with the little piece that has the tab at the top. So you can see the notch out of the top of this front piece. I'm going to line up that tab inside that notch, and then line up the side pieces towards the top. So everything is nice and even. Once I get that there, then I'm going to press that down flat and then rub that in at the bottom. Now that adhesive is grabbed onto that little tab piece, and you can just pull that back. Isn't that awesome? Now adding a strip of liquid glue to those little strip pieces that we adhered. That's the only spot you want to add adhesive to. And then that background piece that has the grass, we're going to line this up towards the top. I did trim it down a little bit smaller. And then now we have our little background scene piece with our grass. Isn't that so cute? Super easy. Okay, I have cut a piece of acetate, and I am going to adhere that behind that little string piece for our bird feeder, because this is going to be standing up taller when you pull that slide piece back. The acetate is just going to give that piece a little more strength, because we're going to adhere that tree branch to it. That's the only thing the tree branch is going to be adhered to. So I wanted to have some extra strength. I'm adding adhesive only at the bottom of the bird feeder. You do not want to adhere anything to the top portion of the pull tab, only the bottom part. So when you pull it up, that's going to stand straight up. And then I added one of the, see how that works? I'm going to trim off the excess, but see how that tree just kind of floats at the top? If I adhered that to that background completely, that wouldn't work. Then we have the little squirrel. That bird is just looking at the squirrel like, what the heck are you doing? Like, why are you eating that? Bird's expression just cracks me up. And then I'm going to add another bird. And again, I'm just going to glue it on the bottom half of where we created that mountain. So when I lift it up, it's going to stand up and not be adhered to the top half. Then we have this little bluebird adhered to the tree branch. I die cut, or I stamped and trimmed out the sentiment, and it says, have a seed-sational birthday. It's kind of a tongue twister. And I'm going to adhere that on that top part. I'm sorry, my head's in the way. And then we've got that cute little bird that we're going to adhere the top. So when you pull and slide and then surprise, you have a little scene at the top with the sentiment and a little scene at the bottom. And then that front scene pops up and stands up. I'm adding some foam adhesive behind it. I have an A2 size piece of cardstock, and then I adhered the polka dot paper from the Summertime 6x6 paper pad to that. I do not have it on a card base because you could just write your note behind it because you're going to pop this open, but you could put it on a card base. I'm going to center that there, and then I just added some white gel pen highlights to some of those images. And then I remembered I needed to add the little tab piece. So glue on both sides. It has a little arrow on the front. I'm going to adhere that right to the top. And then this card is done. Look at how cute that is. Let's pull this open so we can see it in all of its glory. I'm going to pull that. Then we have our scenes revealed. Look at how that pops up like that. I love it. We have that little squirrel and bird below, and then the bird flying in with the sentiments at the top. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope you feel inspired by this video, and I hope you have an amazing day.